Good morning, dear students. In my last video, we have discussed about the orbital magnetic moment of an electron. We have also found a relation between the angular momentum of an electron and its magnetic moment. In my current video, I am going to discuss some important aspects of this chapter. The first out of which is relation between H vector and B vector. Dear students, I have already told you that what is H vector and B vector. H vector is simply known as magnetizing field because it is the external applied magnetic field which is used to magnetize a magnetic material. And what is B here? It is simply the induced magnetic field, or in other words, it is also known as magnetic induction. It is the magnetic field which is set up in the material due to the applied magnetic field. That means when the material gets magnetized, a magnetic field B vector or induced magnetic field B vector has been set up in the material. So it was experimentally verified that whenever a magnetic material is placed in the external applied magnetic field H vector, the magnetic field inside and outside the material, both sides of the material, it gets modified. So experimentally, the modification is given by equation number 1, that is the magnetizing field H vector equal to B vector upon mu naught minus M vector. This was an experimentally verified result. So what is M vector here? It is the magnetization vector of the material, magnetic moment per unit volume. And what is mu naught over here? It is the permeability of the free space, which is given by 4 pi 10 to the minus 7 Henry per meter. Now, you have to rearrange equation number 1. On rearranging equation number 1, you will get equation number 2. B vector equal to mu naught times H vector plus M vector. This is taken as equation number 2. Now, dear students, if the medium is placed in vacuum, in that case, because the outside medium is vacuum which cannot be magnetized, so here the magnetization vector M vector becomes 0 for the non-magnetic material, or you can say it is a vacuum. So in that case, if I put M vector equal to 0 in equation number 2, I'll simply get equation 3rd, which is B vector is equal to mu naught into H vector. Dear students, equations 1 and 2 also show that they are dimensionally correct. Why these equations are dimensionally correct? Because if you find the dimensions, or you can say units of B vector upon mu naught, M vector and H vector, they are found to be same, that is ampere per meter. Hence these two equations are also dimensionally correct. Now let us move towards the next topic, that is the relation between mu and chi m. What is mu here? It is known to be the magnetic permeability of the medium. What is chi m here? It is the magnetic susceptibility of the medium. We have already defined these two quantities. So what I am going to do now, take the magnitude form of equation number 2. In magnitude form, divide both sides with H. So we will get B upon H. Right hand side it is mu naught. H upon H means 1 plus M upon H. Now what is B upon H over here? It is known as the magnetic permeability of the medium, mu. And what is M upon H? It is the magnetic susceptibility, chi m. So using these values in equation number 3, I'll get my equation number 4. Now dear students, if I divide mu naught on the left hand side, mu upon mu naught, I'll get mu r, which is known to be relative permeability. So relative permeability of a medium possesses no units. It is a dimensionless quantity. Because the units of mu and mu naught being same, they will cancel each other and the mu r comes out to be unitless. So I can redefine here the relative permeability as the ratio of the permeability of the medium to that of the vacuum. So putting the value of mu upon mu naught equal to mu r in equation number 4, I'll get equation number 5. So fifth is the equation between relative permeability mu r and the susceptibility of the medium, that is chi m. In SI, mu r comes out to be 1 plus 4 pi chi m. There is a factor which is 4 pi, which has been introduced in equation number 5 and known as in SI system mu r equal to 1 plus 4 pi chi m. Now from this equation number 5, I am going to redefine the three kinds of materials. Now let us define first of all for paramagnetic medium, or you can say paramagnetic materials. You know students, for paramagnetic materials chi m is always positive, because you know the magnetic tiny dipoles of the medium, they get partially align themselves in the direction of the magnetic field. So chi m is no doubt positive, but it is very small because all the dipoles do not align themselves in the direction of magnetic field. So chi m being slightly positive, so mu r, it is 1 plus slightly positive, means mu r will be greater than 1, but it will be slightly greater than 1. Similarly for diamagnetic materials, chi m is always negative, because you know that diamagnetic materials are those in which the magnetic dipoles align themselves in the direction opposite to the applied magnetic field. For such materials, chi m is always negative. These are the only materials for which susceptibility is negative. So 1 minus something means less than 1. That means mu r comes out to be slightly less than 1. Similarly for ferromagnetic materials, chi m is positive and large also. Why it is large? Because all the dipoles of the ferromagnetic materials, they align themselves in the direction of applied magnetic field. So ferromagnetic materials are those which get strongly magnetized in the direction of the applied magnetic field. For such a material, 1 plus large something means greater than 1. So here the relative permeability mu r is very large as compared to 1. That's all about the topic. Now let's move to the next topic, which is known as differential form of Ohm's law. So what is differential form of Ampere's law for magnetic materials? So what is differential form of Ampere's law? Now see, you have done this equation in your 10 plus 2 class, which is known to be the differential form of Ampere's law in case of conducting materials. We also have derived this equation in our section B, paper C, section B. The same equation I have picked over here. Curl of B vector is equal to mu naught times the current density, means J vector. Since total current density for a magnetic material gets modified, this total current density for a magnetic conducting material becomes the sum of the free current density JF and the magnetic current density, or you can say bound current density Jm vector. So using this value of J vector here in equation number 1, I'll get the next equation, which is given by this one. So you just have to put here as Jm vector equal to del cross m. This we have already proved in case of non-uniformly magnetized matter. So using equation 4 in equation 3, I'll get this equation. Now open the bracket, you will get this equation. Shift this term on the left hand side. Then on the left hand side, take del cross as common. You will get this. Divide throughout with mu naught. You will get this. Now I have already defined this quantity as H vector. This is known to be the relation between H vector and B vector. So del cross H becomes JF vector. This is an important equation which is known as differential form of Ampere's law for magnetic materials. Dear students, you can see from this equation that the source of H over here is again the free currents. Bound currents or Jm is not at all responsible for any type of magnetizing field or magnetic field. Now I can derive this equation in the integral form also. How can I define? Multiply both sides with ds. Take the dot product of ds vector with both sides. Then integrating on both sides, I'll get this. On the left hand side, what you have to do? You have to apply the Stokes theorem. The Stokes theorem is curl surface integration of curl of a vector field is equal to the closed line integration of vector field over the closed surface. Now what is dl vector here? It is the elementary length on that surface S, whose elementary part is ds. Now using left hand sides this equation here in equation number 6. So using 7 and 6, I'll get this type of equation. Now, what is JF dot ds, the whole surface integration? It is IF, because JF is the current per unit area. So cross multiplying and taking integration, you will get this type of equation. JF dot ds, the total surface integration, is always the net current flowing through the surface S. So using here this equation, I'll get equation number B. So this is the closed line integral of magnetic field is equal to the free current flowing through the surface. This is known as integral form of Ampere's law for the magnetic materials, which states that the closed line integral of the magnetic field H vector is equal to the free current flowing through that surface. Now both equations A and B show that in magnetic materials, the source of H vector is the free current IF. That means the bound currents have to play no role in case of magnetic materials. It is the only and only free currents that can magnetize a material that are responsible for the magnetic properties of the material. Thank you so much.